what was the hardest process for you personally to let go of so that you weren't being a micromanager?
Micromanagement has never been my style, but the thing that I didn't want to let go of was paid advertising, because one of my viewpoints is nobody cares about your money as much as you. They just don't. And paid advertising is the fuel that drives the vehicle of your business forward. It's the amplification, the energy that pushes it forward. You got to find where you have true mastery and excellence, and then let other people fill in your blind spots. And if you're busy trying to do everything, you don't ever just excel at what you're good at. So it was fine for me to keep the ads. I was really good at it. But there was a whole bunch of other stuff that I shouldn't have been doing. Like, for example, running meetings. You don't want me running a meeting. I'm off topic, things like that, where it's all right, I guess someone else should do this.
I'm starting to see a theme here when I talk to these CMOs, CEOs, business owners.
Yeah, organization is not my strong suit anyways.
That's okay, because vision is your strong suit.
This episode of Inside the Process is powered by Trainual, the one app that organizes who does what and how. Check it out at trainual.com.
Well, Ezra, welcome to Inside the Process Backstage. We're so excited to have you here and obviously have you speaking on stage. So tell us a little bit about your business and what it is that you do.
Well, thank you for having me. Really happy to be here. Love entrepreneurship communities. I have several businesses, mostly e-commerce. I own Navage, which is, I'm a co-owner in Navage. It's a nasal irrigator. I got Boom Beauty, which is skincare cosmetics for women over 50. And I have a bunch of other brands in the e-commerce space. And we have an education company as well, where we sort of support entrepreneurs in systems, processes, and ideas and strategies for how to grow their business.
Very cool. I now understand why they call you the e-commerce pioneer. It all makes sense now.
You know, I was America's #1 mullet wig, afro wig, Elvis wig, clown wig, finger wave, fluff, troll wig, 1920s king wig retailer online in 2007, 8, 9.
That's the coolest thing you can add to your resume.
Yeah, it was fun. Yeah, there wasn't a lot of people in the mullet game back in the day.
That's awesome. So you've obviously built multiple 7- and 8-figure businesses. It's what you're talking about today. What have you learned consistently across all of those businesses when it comes to building strong systems?
So one of the things that I see is people who are like me, do-it-yourself entrepreneurs, is they're driving the vehicle. They're on the road, taking the turns, they're doing it. And it's when you are driving, you can't see the mountains up in the distance. You have to navigate. And most people don't want to give up the driving. And so they just don't delegate. They don't systematize. They don't process. They resist. They micromanage. They bulldog people. They do not truly let go of operating. And if you want to scale, you have got to let go of operating and start navigating. And, when it comes to systems and processes, it's people think it's a big, crazy thing, but start with one thing. This is how we answer emails. Here's how it happens. Now you do it. I use the I do it, we do it, you do it method. So it's first I do it and you watch. Then we do it together. Then you do it on your own. But if you're going to do that, you make sure that you watch them do it one time, because if you just do that and you let them go and then they do 30 of them and it's wrong, it's you're in trouble. So
right.
I feel systems are not that hard. The compounding effect of them is really powerful. And if you just don't get overwhelmed by it and don't feel like you have to systematize everything all at once and just start with one thing, usually for us, it's customer support, because anyone could do customer support. So we start there and we systemize that and we get other people doing it and we kind of just build.
I love that. So what was the hardest process for you personally to let go of so that you weren't being a micromanager?
Micromanagement has never been my style, but the thing that I didn't want to let go of was paid advertising. Because one of my viewpoints is nobody cares about your money as much as you. They just don't. And paid advertising is the fuel that drives the vehicle of your business forward. It's the amplification, the energy that pushes it forward. And I also really like it. So I held that until my team was you can't do this anymore, dude. You have got to let this go. So I finally was all right, I'll let it go. But I think it's things like that you got to find where you have true mastery and excellence, and then let other people fill in your blind spots. And if you're busy trying to do everything, you don't ever just excel at what you're good at. So it was fine for me to keep the ads. I was really good at it. But there was a whole bunch of other stuff that I shouldn't have been doing. For example, running meetings. You don't want me running a meeting. I'm off topic. I forget what I'm just things like that, where it's all right, I guess someone else should do this.
I'm starting to see a theme here when I talk to these CMOs, CEOs, business owners.
Yeah, organization is not my strong suit anyways.
That's okay, because vision is your strong suit. So you've been part of several launches. What is one process that you sort of live by when it comes to a successful launch? So our audience could be somebody who is a, business owner trying to get something off the ground, or maybe it's somebody who, has a special product or project or something as part of a team, and maybe they're trying to launch something. So is there like a process or a framework you live by?
Yes. Sorry, I clapped. I'm very excited about this. But the thing is, like, as human beings, we have 3 times in which we can enjoy something. Before it happens, while it's happening, and after it happens. And if you in your life invest in really relishing in those 3 stages, you will have a more pleasurable life. You build in, you're looking forward to something, and you're building it up, and there's energy about it. And then you do the thing, and you enjoy the thing. And then you relate with whoever you did it with afterwards and talk about how fun it was. Like, you can get a lot more out of every experience if you've used those 3 stages to your benefit. And anticipation is one of the most pleasurable experiences humans can have. There's a reason why every movie has a preview that comes out a year ahead of time. There's a reason why Apple does product launch events 6 months before they release a product. Anticipation is what will make a product launch work well. Give people something to look forward to. Hey, this is going to be amazing. Here's what it is, why it's good. Put out YouTube videos. Like, the longer you spend in anticipation, foreplay, like, the more heightened the experience will be. And people don't do this in marketing. They're just like, I have this thing. It's like, okay, that doesn't work as well as, and we started doing this in 2014. We started doing early bird lists for our Black Friday sale. Like, yo, we got a sale going down. These products are going to be on sale. It's going to be amazing. Here's what's going to happen. We're going to have all this new stuff. Sign up to hear about it first. And they put in their email address. And we're like, yo, in 3 days, it's going down. And what's interesting is, of the people on our early bird list, which is like 10% of our total audience, half our sales come from them because they were excited about it. So the more anticipation you can build in your marketing, the more effective your marketing will be, the more effective your launches will be.
I love that. Our cameraman here behind the scenes, we do hype videos, or we just started doing hype videos for our product launches.
Not that common.
Yeah. And so take note, Nick. We're doing more hype videos.
Yes, they work. They're fun.
I love that. So if I could give you an hour of extra time, so we're talking about, investing time back into things. If I could give you an hour of time to invest in each day, an extra hour over the next 3 months, is there a system that you would invest in improving, and why?
Well, that's an interesting question. Let me think about it. I think that my day currently is, I'm no longer the CEO. So I'm like, my work week is I only work like 20 hours a week at this point. So I have plenty of time and energy. But I would say, I'm going to flip this around because it's probably not what you're expecting. But most people equate with the amount they work with the amount they produce. And it actually turns out there's Parkinson or Murphy or Oliver. One of those 3 has a law. And the law goes, work fills the time that you give it. So if you give work 8 hours, it fills 8 hours. If you give it 10 hours, it fills 10 hours. So actually, if you set boundary around your work life, 6 to 8 hours a day, because if you're doing more than that, you're going to burn out eventually. And you use the other time to fill yourself up as a human being, moving your body, resting, investing in relationships, having fun, and doing hobbies, cooking, cleaning, whatever, your work will be more effective. And I think the system or process that business owners could actually use, there was a study done by the University of, I need to get this, Nevada maybe, you can look it up. But basically, they did this study, and it showed business owners looking at their brand logos and parents looking at their children, and the brain lights up in the same area because business owners love their brands like parents love their children. They think of it as like an extension of them. And so it's very hard to put it down because you just want to keep investing in it. But if you can learn to set it aside and put some energy and intention into other areas of your life, you will actually have a more successful business. And so the processes, I would say, is structure around how much you work, because everybody out there, I look at them, I can see them. I go to, I engage with thousands of entrepreneurs every year. People are overworked. They're burned out. They're overwhelmed. And it's because your phone is right here. It's an extension of you, and your business is on your phone, and you can always get to it. And it's like, you got to be able to set boundary around that and just set it down and focus on something else, or you just dissipate. Your energy dissipates.
So you're big on work-life balance and building businesses that support your lifestyle. And I loved that. I resonated with that so much as somebody who's a high performer and has trouble sometimes putting work down, whether you're a business owner or just somebody who prides yourself on kind of setting that bar high for yourself. How do you set the time aside? Do you have any tricks that you
I will say there are seasons. you're pretty young, right? Like when I was in my 20s, it was rah, go. And that was good. I had
30s, by the way.
In my 30s, I learned, I'm in my very late 30s, to be a little more deliberate with how I use that energy.
Yeah.
And I think that like, hey, production and doing well and succeeding is one part of feeling fulfilled. Because ultimately, what are you doing it for? You're doing it so you can take care of your family. You can take care of your community. You can use the resource that you make from your job towards causes in the world that you find noble, whatever that is for you. I don't know what you want to contribute to, but it's like you're doing it for something. It's not just the validation of having succeeded in a career. There's some other reason that you are working so hard, that you're so driven to prove that you can do it, whatever it is. And it's like you have got to have the life you want now. Because I will tell you, if you can't have it here and now, I'm going to talk about this on stage. If you can't have fun, gratitude, joy, presence, enthusiasm, love, connection, romance here and now, you won't get it there and then. There's no amount of shit you will acquire. There's no amount of money you will make that once you get there, all of a sudden, then you'll be gratified. Then you'll be fulfilled. You'll be the same person chasing the same thing you're chasing. So it's like, figure out how to enjoy your life. Now, for me, it could be small. For me, when we didn't have a lot of resource growing up, and I would watch MTV Cribs, and they'd open their fridge, and there'd be beverages of all variety, beverages, Lunchables, and all kinds of shit. Now, I fill my fridge full of beverages. You come to my house, there's going to be beverages. I'm going to have coconut water, I have sparkling water, I'm going to have all kinds of shit. And I open that fridge and I feel like I have made it. I got beverages, man. So it doesn't have to be like a crazy thing, but it's like, figure out what gratifies you, incorporate it into your life now. Doesn't mean don't work hard, doesn't mean don't grind. But if you are working hard and grinding as the backdrop of your existence, you can't sustain it. Then you burn out. Then you're not good to your company, you're not good to your family. Now you're all fucked up. It's like you've been up all night drinking Red Bull, eating Butterfingers. It's like you're no longer any good to anybody. So actually, this like unchecked intensity ultimately is a bad strategy. And I will say, I'm not the smartest person in the room. Never have been. I didn't even make it out of high school. But I have showed up every day with a positive attitude and taken the next step I can take in the direction of my goals and done what it took to bless my life, to enjoy my life, to find things that I could approve of and invest in. And it's like, that is actually the secret. It's consistency. It's not intensity.
I relate to that so much. I had a very rough, sort of upbringing and didn't finish high school. And, a lot of times I see myself and I have to stop and think like, to your point, same thing. I open my fridge and it's stacked full of produce and groceries and things like that. And
you made it, dude.
Yeah, damn, I feel like, so blessed. But a lot of that for me is this visual exercise every day of like kind of visualizing your life and what you want out of your life, but also positive affirmations, because I grew up hearing a lot of negative things, seeing a lot of negative things and being exposed to that, and have had to rewire my brain over the last decade or so. For anybody listening, do you have any tips for how you've personally done that, either visualizing or just the mental exercises that you go through?
There is only one step. So if you live in the West, if you were born in the West, for the most part, you get to choose where you put your attention. Pretty much. There's things that happen to you. It's like you don't get to choose everything, but you can, for the most part, unless you're like on the real low end of the economic spectrum, you kind of get to choose like what you put your attention on. And then you are the ultimate arbiter or judge of the experience that you had. So you get to choose what you perceive, then you get to judge it as good or bad. And you could just judge more of it as good. You could just find more things right and pleasurable and good. And you could find the goodness in your world and put your attention on that, because what you put your attention on grows. And we are so fucking focused on how we are flawed. I don't have enough money. I don't have the right color hair. I'm too fat. I'm too skinny. I don't smell right. Whatever. There's everywhere you look, someone's telling you some way in which you're inadequate. We're playing all this defense where it's like, just quit it. Just look around and say, this is good. This is right. I'm going to enjoy that. I'm going to invest in that. It's like the more attention you put on the good in your life, the more good there is. And it turns out we all have so much more resource and goodness around us that we could acknowledge. And the more you acknowledge the good, the more it exists and the more it creates. So it's like, it's actually like it is a mindset shift. It's an internal thing. It's like it is an inside job.
How is that mindset shift and just cultivating that mindset in you transpired in the leaders that you have on your team, and then also that you're
interesting? What happens is when you're having fun, people want to play with you. It's like if you're showing up and you took care of yourself mentally, emotionally, spiritually, energetically, physically, so that you could have a good time and you could bring enthusiasm, Everybody wants to hang out. They want to support your mission. They want to be a part of it. They want to rub up against it. Like contributing one more happy person to the world is a blessing for everybody. And you could be that, you could do what it takes to be that happy person. And then that just makes the world better, because matches like matches. You're a match. And someone comes in contact with you now, they feel good and lifted up, and they're going to go for their dreams and they're going to invest. It's like you can be that by just deciding. It only takes one person to decide, I'm going to take responsibility and do what it takes to bring good into the world.
Do you have a story or a moment that you can share in terms of sort of seeing this play out in the way that your team has succeeded, or, you know, a big event that, you know, you can say, oh, this is because of, you know, how I live my life, and I'm seeing that transpire in the way my business is growing?
Well, I have 180 employees, and of the ones that I hired, I bought a company, I lost some people there, but of the team members that I brought on over the last 17 years, nobody has ever quit. Nobody's ever left because they were unhappy, they weren't paid well enough, there was some conflict we couldn't navigate. Nobody has quit. Doesn't mean we haven't had tough times or things we had to communicate about.
Right.
And hey, I fired some people for stealing from me and shit like that, but it's like, if you can coalesce a group of people together over time, you can get very far. And I think that is our greatest strength, is like we can get groups of people to communicate and get along with one another and do what it takes, and have people be more important than progress. Everybody's so focused on getting somewhere, and they forget that how it feels amongst the group that is doing the work is actually imbued into the work and will affect how far you go. So if you just stop and slow down and take people into account, you end up getting further. And I think that the way in which I approach the world is people first, and that results in a happy team. And I think a happy team is a winning team.
I love that. And a lot of people, you know, say that, you know, you see it out there on LinkedIn, you know, we're a people first company, everybody's
and then they're
here.
forcing you to work 70 hours a week, and they got you stuffed into one of those phone booth single, you've seen those things in the offices, it's a phone booth. It's like, who is going in there? I don't want to be by myself in a phone booth. Sounds terrible, with a bag of Cheetos. Like, no.
So when you think about, you know, taking care of your team and putting people first, what are the first couple of things that you think of that, you know, somebody listening today can say, oh, I could do that for
3 things. 1, as humans, we're of equivalent value, you and I. However, in a corporate hierarchy, I'm likely above you because I own the thing, right? So what happens is people devalue people based on where they sit in the hierarchy. It takes us all to run this thing. There is not one position that's more important than another. We need all of them. We lose one position, the company stops working. So it's like, you need the whole group. From your vantage point, you can see things nobody else can see. If you can see a way we can make our products better, we could serve our customers better, or you could be enjoying your work life more. Maybe these meetings on Monday are stupid and we don't need them. Tell somebody. Tell me, tell your manager, and we will listen to you. And what happens is people then feel like they have agency and autonomy and freedom to direct the ship, and they can be entrepreneurs from within the organization, and they feel like, oh, these people will listen to me. They care about what I think. They care about me as a human, and all your best ideas come from the team. So that's the first thing. Second thing is pay people as well as you can. Be generous. You know, capitalism is wonderful, and also it tends to result in the people at the top getting all the money, which is nice. Hey, we took all the risk. We did the thing. We created it. But it's like you could filter a little more down into ensuring that people have their basic needs met. You know, it's like you could pay at the upper level. Hey, look, you got to pay based on what a position, you know, a position has a range, but you could try to pay at the upper level. You could not overwork people. You don't have to work them 60 hours a week. You could work them 40 hours a week, and then they'll stay with you for 10 years instead of 3. It's like you could give good benefits. You could like have the way it feels to work at your company be deliberate and intentional and about supporting them as humans, not remembering they are humans outside of work, including their humanity in your desires and goals for them as people. Intend for them to grow. I know we got to end this thing. I'm rambling, but whatever.
No, I love that. So incredible insights here. Probably one of my favorite podcasts we've done. I think there's so many good nuggets in here for how you can take care of your people, your mindset, and how that transpires into your life, how you handle your relationships, how you handle your working relationships. So thank you so much for being here. I've loved having you.
Happy to be here.
Yeah.
Thank you.